Alfred the Great, the king who saved England. In the 9th century, England was on the brink of destruction. Viking invaders raided, plundered, and conquered vast territories, threatening to wipe out the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. But amid the chaos, one man would rise from obscurity to lead his people through one of the darkest periods in their history, Alfred the Great. The only English king to earn the title the Great, Alfred is celebrated not only as a warrior, but also as a visionary ruler who laid the foundation for a unified England. In this video, we'll explore the remarkable life of Alfred, from his early struggles against Viking invasions to his efforts in creating a lasting legacy of education, law, and governance. This is the story of Alfred the Great, the king who saved England. Alfred was born in 849 CE in the small kingdom of Wessex, located in the southern part of England. He was the youngest of 5 sons born to King Ethelwulf, which meant that Alfred was never expected to become king. However, the early death of his brothers during Viking invasions would unexpectedly propel Alfred to the throne. As a boy, Alfred was deeply religious and showed an early passion for learning. His father sent him to Rome, where he was blessed by the Pope, a sign of the boy's importance in the Christian world. Alfred's formative years were spent in a court steeped in religious devotion, but they were also shaped by constant fear of Viking raids. The Viking threat loomed over every aspect of life in 9th century England, and this threat would define Alfred's future reign. By the 860s, the Viking Great Heathen Army, a coalition of Norse warriors from Denmark and Scandinavia, had landed in England and begun a brutal campaign of conquest. The Anglo-Saxon kingdoms fell one by one, Northumbria, East Anglia, Mercia, until only Wessex, Alfred's kingdom, remained standing. In 871 CE, Alfred's brother King Ethelred died in battle, and the young Alfred ascended to the throne. At this time, Alfred faced overwhelming odds. The Vikings, led by the legendary warrior Guthrum, were ravaging the countryside, and Wessex's army was fractured and demoralized. Despite these challenges, Alfred quickly proved himself a capable leader. In a series of initial skirmishes, he managed to delay the Vikings' advance, buying crucial time for his kingdom. However, in 878 CE, the situation took a turn for the worse when the Vikings launched a surprise attack during the winter, a time when fighting typically ceased. Alfred was forced to flee into the marshes of Somerset with only a small band of loyal followers. Alfred's time in the swamps of Somerset is legendary. For months he lived in hiding, constantly on the run from Viking forces. It was during this time that the famous story of Alfred burning the cakes emerged, a tale that portrays him as a humble king, scolded by a peasant woman for allowing her bread to burn while he was deep in thought. This period of isolation, however, became a turning point for Alfred. From the safety of the marshes, he regrouped, organized a resistance, and began gathering support from local militias. He sent messages throughout Wessex, rallying his people to fight back. In May of 878, Alfred emerged from the marshes to meet Guthrum in battle. The two armies clashed at the Battle of Edington, a decisive confrontation that would determine the fate of Wessex. Against all odds, Alfred won a stunning victory, forcing Guthrum and his Viking forces to surrender. The Treaty of Wedmore was signed, with Guthrum agreeing to be baptized as a Christian, and the Vikings withdrew from Wessex. This victory was not just a military triumph. It marked the beginning of Alfred's transformation from a beleaguered king to a national hero. With the Viking threat temporarily subdued, Alfred turned his attention to rebuilding Wessex and securing its future. His reign was characterized by a series of transformative reforms that would have a lasting impact on England. Military reforms. Alfred understood that the Vikings would return, and he set about creating a system of defense that would ensure Wessex's survival. He reorganized the army, established a network of fortified towns called burhs, and created a navy to protect against Viking raids along the coast. This made Wessex more resilient and capable of withstanding future invasions. Legal reforms. Alfred is often remembered as a lawgiver. He compiled a law code known as Doom Book that combined Mosaic law, Christian principles, and the existing laws of Anglo-Saxon England. His legal reforms emphasized justice, fairness, and the protection of the weak, laying the groundwork for the English legal system that would develop in the centuries to come. Educational reforms. Alfred believed that education was essential for the prosperity of his kingdom. He established schools and promoted literacy among his people, translating important Latin texts into Old English to make them accessible. His dedication to learning earned him a reputation as a scholar king, and his contributions to education helped preserve Anglo-Saxon culture in the face of Viking destruction. Though Alfred's victory at Edington brought temporary peace, the Viking threat was far from over. Over the next several years, Viking forces continued to raid England, but this time they faced a much more prepared Wessex. Alfred's network of burhs and his navy allowed him to repel many of these attacks, securing his kingdom's borders. One of Alfred's most significant accomplishments was his ability to forge alliances with other Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, particularly Mercia, which had suffered under Viking rule. These alliances laid the foundation for the eventual unification of England under one king, a vision that Alfred would not live to see, but one that his descendants would achieve. Alfred's final years were spent not just defending Wessex, but also consolidating power across southern England. His diplomacy and military strength helped stabilize the region, making Wessex the dominant power among the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. Alfred died in 899 CE, but his legacy endured far beyond his lifetime. He is the only English king to be known as the Great, a testament to his remarkable achievements in both war and peace. His reforms in education, law, and military defense laid the foundation for a more unified and resilient England, and his vision for a Christian, learned, and just society became a guiding light for future English rulers. Alfred's descendants, particularly his grandson Ethelstan, would go on to unite the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, creating the Kingdom of England as we know it today. Alfred's legacy as a defender of his people, a reformer of his kingdom, and a visionary leader earned him a place in history as one of England's greatest monarchs. Alfred the Great was more than just a warrior king. He was a man of vision who recognized that the survival of his people depended on more than just military might. He laid the groundwork for a unified England, ensuring that his kingdom would not only survive but thrive. Today, Alfred is remembered as the father of the English nation, a leader whose resilience and wisdom shaped the course of history. Thank you for watching this in-depth exploration of Alfred the Great's life and legacy. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of history's greatest figures.